From the studios of KENW on the campus of Eastern New Mexico University, it's You Should Know, featuring the people and events of Eastern New Mexico and West Texas.
Welcome to You Should Know. I'm your host, Devlin Ledbetter, and I have the pleasure of having Andy Mason here with me as my guest today. Andy, thanks. This is so fun.
Hi, Evelyn. How are you?
I'm good. It's crazy. Like I told you earlier, I have listened to your music and watched you and went to performances, but I really don't know a lot about you personally.
So I can tell all kinds of lies and you wouldn't know the difference.
I wouldn't. You can just... I had one guest and they said, well, what all do you want to know? And I said, well, what do you not want to tell? That's what I want to know. So tell me about your background.
So I was born in Rockford, Illinois, but I don't remember living there. We moved very quickly after I was born. I grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So I'm a big Pirates, Steelers, Penguins fan. But after about 11 years of living there, my parents are British, so they wanted to go back to England. So in 1980, the family moved to England.
Wow.
And lived there throughout the 80s. So I spent 10 years living in the UK. And then I ended up coming back to the US just on a trip by myself once I turned 18, 19. And I didn't intend to stay, but I did. I stayed.
You stayed. Were your parents military?
No, my dad was an electrical engineer. And there were lots of American companies in the 60s.
Right.
Going to Europe and trying to find, educated people to come and work. And so he got recruited and took that opportunity to come and live and work in the United States.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. And siblings?
Siblings, I have 6 siblings, 3 brothers and 3 sisters. And one of them is living here also in the United States, and the rest of them are in Europe.
Wow. Wow. I had been told that you're living in France now, right?
Yes, that is correct. We've been there for a couple years now, and it's been a really good experience.
Have you learned the language?
Yeah, it's coming along. It's coming along pretty good. The kids are completely fluent, but
How fun is
a little
that?
bit slower for us, but we're getting there.
Well, and tell me if this is true. I know that you speak Spanish. Some of the performances and things you've had,
Yep.
You speak that fluently. And I'd been told you did an immersion program. Is that true or not?
Yeah,
Into
absolutely.
Mexico?
Yeah. Actually, I taught at the high school. Well, I taught beginning Spanish, and I taught ESL, and I also did that same teaching position when I was in Santa Fe. Taught beginning Spanish and ESL, and one of the most amazing summers that we had here in Portales was going to the Yucatan through Eastern New Mexico University. We took 2 classes down there and spent a month in the Yucatan. And I took my daughter with me. It was fantastic.
They still do that program.
Yeah.
I saw that online the other day, and I thought, I wish my Spanish was enough to be able to go do that.
Yeah.
I've been to Yucatan.
Well, that's the idea. You go and you work on your Spanish while you're down there.
Well, that would be like from almost ground zero. So.
Well, that's all right. That's all right. That's how you learn.
But that's really cool. Other languages?
No, just French, Spanish,
for now.
English. I tell everybody that I speak 3 languages badly. So.
Well, at least if you can find a place to eat and a place for the restroom, you're in good shape.
Yeah, that's all you need, right?
So how many children? You're married and have kiddos?
Yeah, I'm married and I've got 2 younger ones. I've got Lennon and Juniper. Lennon is 9, Juniper's 8. And then I have my older daughter. She's 32. She's living in Salt Lake City. And so I got 3. I got the hat trick.
Oh, there you go. How funny. And so if you were teaching, you went to college. Did you get a bachelor's or in education?
Yeah, I got here at Eastern.
Okay.
Yeah, I graduated here at Eastern in 2004. My degree is in English with a minor in Spanish, and got a teaching certification as well.
What popped you into Portales? From the UK and from Pennsylvania to Portales, New Mexico.
So I was living in Florida, where I got a private pilot's license. Aviation, I was really interested in aviation, so I got a private pilot's license in Florida. And then that's where my daughter was born. And then we wanted to leave Florida. We didn't know where we wanted to go. We had some friends that were stationed at Cannon Air Force Base, and they said, hey, y'all should come out here. You got the university in Portales. There's an aviation science program at Clovis Community College. Y'all should come out to New Mexico. And I was like, okay, why not? So we did. So that was in 1992, and ended up staying for about 18 months. I got my second certification, second flying certification at Clovis Community College, and then moved up to Seattle for about 3 years. Got a commercial pilot's license up there, but ended up coming back to Portales in 1997 and stayed for another 2 years, and then I left again. And I actually went and did some work in South America. I was in Peru for a while, and it was there that I did some teaching. I did some English teaching down there, and I was like, you know what? If I'm going to continue to teach English, I need to get a degree in English, and I knew exactly where to go. So I came back to Portales, and then stayed for about 15 years.
Aren't we lucky?
Well, you know, this place,
That's awesome.
It was an amazing place to raise my daughter. We lived right on the doorstep of the university here, and there was always performances to see, theater productions, concerts, everything virtually free as a student. We would go swimming at the natatorium on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and it was all just right here on our doorstep. And, you know, Portales afforded us also, you know, once I was working as a teacher, you know, our rent was not high at all. So we could go visit family in England, and we could travel, and we could go to Mexico and do these things. So Portales was really a really great place for us.
Well, how cool. Well, and you're actually going to perform a couple of songs for us, and that's a great segue. The first one is a nod to Portales.
Yeah, absolutely. I wrote that song. It's over 20 years old, that song. I wrote it in 2003. The year before, I knew I was going to graduate in 2004, and I was just walking back from a friend's house with my guitar. We'd been playing some music, and you know, I could see the baseball field, and I could see the lightning in the distance, and I just started playing my guitar, and that's how I wrote the Streets of Portales.
Will you perform that for us now?
Absolutely, I'd love to.
Great, I'm excited.
Well, I'm walking through the streets, see the moon and stars rocking to my gentle beat, in the rhythm of my feet. March to the realization of my dream, and nothing's gonna bring, yeah, nothing's gonna bring me down tonight. Yeah, nothing's gonna bring. I'm working on my dream in the streets of Portales. And the water tower shines to the light of the baseball field in the park. There's lightning in my eyes. In the distance, the thunder fills the dark, and nothing's gonna bring, yeah, nothing's gonna bring me down tonight. Yeah, nothing's gonna bring. I'm working on my dream in the streets of Portales. Working on my dream in the streets of Portales. Working on my dream in the streets of Portales. And the storm is getting nearer, and the wind, it starts to cry, and you wake up to a new day. sun is in the sky, high above the streets of Portales. No matter where I go, a part of me's in Portales, New Mexico, a place for hopes and dreams, a place that's not as bad as it may seem, and nothing's gonna bring us down tonight. Yeah, nothing's gonna bring. We're all working on our dreams in the streets of Portales. Working on our dreams in the streets of Portales. Working on our dreams tonight. Working on our dreams. We're all working on our dreams in the streets of Portales.
Yay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I could literally visualize that tower, and I mean everything just comes to life when you're talking about it, and how interesting that was just walking
Yeah, it's right
along.
there in the Rotary Park, and I lived on Avenue I, so I was always either driving past it or looking at it, and it was right there. So yeah.
Very, very cool. Man, I'm thrilled for the life, but I wish you were still in the school system too here. I mean, how amazing.
I really enjoyed teaching, and I still do a little bit of teaching. I did throughout my college career, I was a substitute teacher. So I've been in all the schools here in Portales, like literally over and over again, 4 years of substitute teaching.
And no wonder people know you so much, is because if you're in the schools with their children,
yeah,
you get to know tons of parents and athletic events, and with your kids
I wasn't
at that
even,
age.
and I wasn't even doing any kids music at that time, because it was the early 2000s. I hadn't really begun to do any of the children's concerts or anything at that time. So
just kind of came about.
yeah.
So tell me, your family, are they musical?
All of my siblings are. My parents didn't play any instruments or anything, but there was always music going on. My dad was a big Beach Boys fan, so we always had Beach Boys going on in the house. And so those harmony vocals were always very prevalent. And my mom, was always putting music on, so, it was always there. But I remember, being very young and being in the car and arriving at the house, and there was a song on the radio that I was sitting in the back seat singing, and I remember my dad and all my siblings jumped out, but I stayed in the car, and he left the radio on for me, and he just sat there and he said, "You go ahead, you can listen to that. You finish singing along with that." And so it's funny because I have a big repertoire of songs that I play when I play out, but there's a big chunk of those songs that come from sort of 1973, 1974, when my awareness of music and, I started to really listen and I started to sing along. And so there's a lot of songs from the early 70s that are my favorites.
My daughter's like that. The old music I listened to, back to Roger Miller, we would sing that on the way to school of a morning. And those songs are inside of her, and then into the hair bands of the 80s and all through that. So you absorb.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as parents, I think, you got to just keep exposing your kids to things. You never know what they might latch onto. And for me, it was definitely, I was the radio in the car was a big thing for me.
And the instruments, do you play other than the guitar?
I play the guitar and I play the ukulele. And when I was here at Eastern, I took some piano courses and some music theory, but I don't play piano. I wouldn't attempt to play in front of an audience or anything like that.
You're not going to be an Elton John.
No, absolutely not. No.
And your guitar, how did you learn that?
Pretty much just self-taught. I picked it up. I didn't even pick up a guitar until I was 20 years old. Wow. And really, I picked it up because, I'm a singer and I wanted to be able to accompany myself. So I started playing guitar, and I just, I had some instructors and I had some lessons, But what I would do is I would listen to the songs on the radio. And once I'd learned a few of the chords, I could then hear a song and go, oh, that's G. And I could figure out what it was.
So literally by ear.
Literally by ear. And then once internet came along, you know, I could go online and get the tabs for the songs. And, you know, I used to have 2 big binders full of songs, just individual songs. It's all on the iPad now, thank God. But I carried around these gigantic sheet music books, yeah. You know, and would have this big music stand in front of me, and I'd go and play, and I'd play, because what I like to do is play a big variety of things. You know, I'll play something from the 1940s, I'll play something that came out last year,
right,
and everything in between.
Well, I knew we used to have a dance group, and so I was actually the one that booked the bands, and the group always loved to have you, and it was the Fun Brothers with Johnny Mulhair and some of the other guys, and it was a huge eclectic mix that you could play.
Yeah, I think that's why, you know, we gelled so well, is because all of those guys in the band had kind of that same vision where they, you know, it's not just about being country or rock or, you know, we would even play a cumbia.
Oh, that's what I was going to say.
We would, whatever got people onto the dance floor, that's what we wanted to play.
And I think that's part of the trick, isn't it? You learn to read your audience of like what's going to make them get out there and enjoy this.
Yeah, and especially if people come asking for it, then, you know, people would ask, oh, can you play this song? And if the answer was no, you bet next week we'd have that song.
Yeah. Oh, just think if it was before, like today, can have that just at your fingertips on the iPad.
Yeah.
Versus trying to dig and buy sheet music.
Yeah, it was a lot more difficult back then. Somebody'd have to, you know, get a recording or somehow, you know, but those guys were, and still are, such accomplished musicians. You know, it didn't take long, you know, and we'd get together for an hour or two and boom, it's added to the set.
And it amazes me. I think people that are musical, I don't remember lyrics at all. Until someone's singing them. But for you as a musician, the memorization is just insane.
You know, when I was a kid, I would sing songs at school, and other kids would say, how do you learn that? And I'd be like, I don't know, I just hear it and I learned it.
Just absorb.
They wouldn't believe me. They didn't believe me. They thought that I would sit for hours and hours and listen to a song over and over again, but I didn't have to do that. If I heard it just maybe 3 or 4 times, I had it, especially if it was a song that I liked.
What a great gift. I mean, just to have that. So then our next song I think you're going to do is one that you perform at libraries, right?
Yeah, I like to do this one for kids. The actual title, my sister wrote most of this song. I wrote a little bit of it, but my older sister Susie wrote this song, and the title is the Love Bomb Song. So it's about giving yourself a little bit of love, right? So, but the sort of other parentheses title is The World Needs You to Be You.
Very nice.
Celebrating, you know, everybody, just be yourself.
Right.
Just be yourself, you know. And when I perform it for kids, I say, you know, I give them the Dr. Seuss quote, "Today you are you, that is truer than true. There is no one alive that is youer than you." And then I add, and the world needs you to be you.
That's so cool. We came down and shot some footage while you were performing at the library here in Portales. And I thought, what a great message that those kids are hearing. They need to hear that more.
Yeah, they need to hear that.
Because all the things that you get from social media and the craziness that can bring about, just let them be children and appreciate themselves. So you reinforce that. So will you sing that one for us?
I'd love to.
Great.
You're epic, you're awesome, you're one of a kind. The world needs you to be you. Love your eyes, love your size, love your heart, love your smart, love your silly, love your sweet, love your brains, love your feats. You're epic, you're awesome, you're one of a kind. The world needs you to be you. Love your dreams, love your schemes and your streams of thought. Love your wins, love your lose, love the battles you have fought. world needs you to be. The world needs you to be. The world needs you to be you. The world needs you to be. The world needs you to be. The world needs you to be you. Why? Because you're epic, you're awesome, you're one of a kind. The world needs you to be you. Love your life, love the world, love the days as they unfurl. Love the future, make it your own. Love the ways your love is shown. The world needs you to be. The world needs you to be. The world needs you to be you. The world needs you to be. The world needs you to be. The world needs you to be you. It needs your passion, your personal sense of fashion. It needs you to do your thing. Sing, you sing. Dance, you dance. Take a chance. Love your fam. Lend a hand. Give your heart. Play your part. The world needs you to start. The journey might be long, but you know that you are strong. If you trust your joy, then boy oh boy, you'll be there before you know, and your happiness will start to flow, and it will show, 'cause you will glow your biggest, brightest, best. Follow your heart, get rest. The world needs you to be. The world needs you to be. The world needs you to be you. The world needs you to be. The world needs you to be. The world needs you to be you. Because you're epic, you're awesome, you're one of a kind.
That was really good. And I enjoyed it when you played it at the library.
Thank you.
And when you were warming up here, you know, everybody in the studio, you could see them moving. And what a positive. If you played that every single day to yourself when you get up and you go to bed,
Yeah.
wouldn't that make a difference?
Yeah, I think it would. I think it would.
There's talk shows that I listen to, and I literally want that feel-good moment. We put so much negative inside of us.
Yeah.
You need to hear that positive.
Yeah.
Tell me how you got started doing the library gig.
So my cousin, who was a librarian, still is, in Massachusetts, we were coming for a visit one summer, and she said, "Hey, can you bring your guitar and play some songs for the kids at the library? We'll pay you $50." And I was like, "Absolutely, yeah,
I'm down.
100%." And then so after I did it, she said, "You know that other libraries, hire musicians and children's performers to for their summer reading programs." And I was like, "Really?"
I didn't know that.
I had no idea. So I contacted the next summer, 2005. I contacted the Portales Library, Clovis Library, Roswell, all the sort of Eastern New Mexico libraries, and I ended up getting booked in 8 libraries that first summer. And I was like, "Okay, this is great. I'm gonna go do a solo gig, 45 minutes an hour, and they're gonna pay me, and this is fabulous."
Yeah, this is good.
So then I was like, okay. So the next summer I performed in 19 libraries. The next summer it was 35, and I just kept going further and further afield. The next summer I did 50. The next summer I did 75.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and it just grew from there, and it sort of became like, okay, I can play the libraries in the summertime. I can visit schools during the school year, and I don't have to have a real job anymore. And I was still playing with the band at the time, so that helped as well.
And so you started that prior to moving back to Europe, right? Or where was that
this was
at?
in 2004.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you've been, how many years have you been doing this?
So this summer was my 20th year of performing summer reading programs, not only here in New Mexico, but really all over the world. In 2012, we went to Australia, and in 2013, went to New Zealand. That same summer in 2013, went to Alaska, drove through Canada, performed in Canada on the way. So really, all over the world.
And so your family I mean, within the states for sure,
Yeah.
have had quite the experience.
Yeah, it's been amazing. I mean, we go to Wyoming every summer, Idaho, obviously Texas gets a lot of attention, and
The
yeah,
streets of Portales.
and of course, got to come here to Portales.
Yeah. So when you moved to France, you continued to come back, and that's
Yep.
the flight alone is not cheap, and your accommodations and
No.
everything that go with that.
No, it
So,
definitely made things more difficult in terms of logistics and travel and accommodation. Because it used to be, I would just day trip out of Portales.
Right.
I'd go down to Eunice and come back, or I'd
Right.
go to Lubbock and come back. But and then even from Santa Fe when we lived up there, it made it a little more difficult. But I could still day trip sometimes. Now it's I'm on the road for 2 months.
how many did you book for this summer?
58 for this summer.
And you said you're at how many? What
I've done
mark?
33 so far, so I got another 25 ahead of me.
And your family will come over and enjoy part
Yeah,
of
they're
this?
coming in a few days, so it's going to be good to have them come along for the next part.
That's amazing. Well, and I know how lucky are we to have you doing this? And
Well,
all the
thank
kids
you.
and the impact, I saw them sitting there and they couldn't sit down and they were wiggling and they were moving and enjoyed that. And the lives you've touched is just amazing through the music.
Thank you. I just, kids, they love music. Kids love music. And so it's easy to get them to interact and have fun, give them just a fun experience with music.
Wow. Wow. And this is your full-time world is music at this point.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's great. That's great. Well, we are very fortunate to have you come and do this and get
Thank you.
to meet you. And
My pleasure.
I'd love to have you come in and do this every single year if you continue coming
All
back
right.
to the
Well,
States.
just keep inviting me. I'll keep coming back.
Okay, well, just put me on your agenda for next
Okay.
year.
Thank you, Evelyn.
Thank you again. Safe travels.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
And to all of you out there watching, thank you for joining us. We will see you next time. Cheers.